Hi everyone. Today we will be reading Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Septis. I'm not sure if I'm saying the author's name right, but there are two different covers here. So as I was looking at the book and trying to figure out which one I wanted to read, I wanted to make sure there's no differences in the covers, but there are two of them. So talk with your elbow partner to your left or your right, either one you want to. We're going to make some predictions. And remember, we've talked about predictions before. Prediction is a guess using text or picture clues as to what's happening in the book. In this case, we're going to make a prediction before we read. So look at the title, look at the illustrations, kind of just look around the book outside of it. And what do you think this text will be about? I'll put the covers of the book back up and I'll give you about 2 minutes with your partner to talk. Start now. All right, guys, good job talking about your predictions. I heard a lot of great things. We have to start looking at the girl and their mother, or if that's a boy, we don't really know yet. It's snowy, there's the train, and even just looking at the title, it says, few books are beautifully written, the few are so important, this novel is both. So looking at that, like the words, what do you think this book entails? Like it probably talks about a story since we're talking about history. So you have to think about what are the important aspects of this text as we're reading. And I heard a lot of great predictions, so I'm ready to start reading with you guys. All right, chapter 1. Thieves and prostitutes. They took me in my nightgown. Thinking back, the signs were there. Family photos burned in the fireplace, mother sewing her best silver and jewelry into the lining of her coat late at night, and Papa not returning from work. My youngest brother, Jonas, was asking questions. I asked questions too, but perhaps I refused to acknowledge the signs. Only later did I realize that mother and father intended we escape. We did not escape. We were taken. Let's stop for a minute and silently think about if you were taken from your house where you feel safe at with your family, whoever you live with, whether it be your parent, your grandparent, your uncle, aunt, whoever you live with. Think about if somebody just came home and took you from your house, how would you feel? So let's think about that silently for 1 minute of how would you feel if somebody came and took you from your house. All right, now that we thought about that, if somebody took me from my house, my house has my dog. I used to have a hamster. So if somebody came in and took me from my dog, my family members, my food, that's where we lived, that's our shelter and our safe space, I would be terrified, I'd be frightened, I'd be really confused and kind of fearful of what would happen to me. So now that we have that in our heads, let's think about what's going to happen to this family. June 14th, 1941. I had changed into my nightgown and settled in at my desk to write my cousin Jonah a letter. I opened up a new ivory writing tablet and case of pens and pencils, a gift from my aunt for my 15th birthday. The evening breeze floated through the open window over my desk, waltzing the curtain from side to side. I could smell the lily of the valley that my mother and I had planted 2 years ago. Dear Jonah. It wasn't a knocking. It was an urgent booming that made me jump in my chair. Fists pounded at our door. No one stirred inside the house. I left my desk and peered out at the hallway. My mother stood flat against the wall, facing our framed map of Lithuania, her eyes closed and her face pulled with anxiety I had never seen. She was praying. Mother, said Jonas, only one of his eyes visible through the crack in his door. Are you going to open it? It sounds as if they might break it down. Mother's head turned to see both Jonas and me peering out of our rooms. She attempted a forced smile. Yes, darling, I will open the door. I won't let anyone break down our door. The heels of her shoes echoed down the wooden floor of the hallway, and her long, thin skirt swayed about her ankles. Mother was elegant and beautiful, stunning in fact, with an unusually wide smile that lit up everything around her. I was fortunate enough to have Mother's honey-colored hair and her bright blue eyes. Jonas had her smile. Loud voices thundered from the foyer. All right, guys, let's stop for a minute. Who do you think is pounding at the door and trying to get in their house? I want this to be a silent think because it's going to be for 1 minute. So think to yourself for 1 minute, who do you think is outside their door and what do you think they want from them? All right, let's see who it is. NKVD, whispered Jonas. Growing pale, Tatis said they took his neighbors away in a truck. They are arresting people. No, not here, I replied. The Soviet secret police had no business at our house. I walked down the hallway to listen and peeked around the corner. Jonas was right. 3 NKVD officers had Mother encircled. They wore blue hats with a red border and a gold star above the brim. A tall officer had our passports in his hand. We need more time. We'll be ready in the morning, Mother said. 20 minutes or you won't live to see the morning, said the officer. Please, lower your voice. I have children, whispered Mother. 20 minutes, the officer barked. He threw his burning cigarette onto our clean living room floor and ground it in the wood with his boots. We were about to become cigarettes. All right, guys, I know this is a lot of information in the first few paragraphs, and it started off as a really intense read, which automatically drew our attention, and we're wondering what's going to happen to Lena, Jonas, and the mother. And the officers coming banging on the door, that can be, sometimes traumatic and having a lot of intense motion. So I just want us to stop and take a deep breath just to process what just happened and think about if you've had any experience like this. If you need to take a break, go ahead. You can go to the restroom, you can go sit in our sensory corner, just take a break for a minute. But if we're good, I want you to stop and with your elbow partner, think, how do you think Lena and Jonas feel in the situation, and where do you think the officers are going to take them? So if you need a break from the reading, go ahead and go to a corner or to the restroom for a minute. If not, go ahead and start talking to your elbow partner, because I'm going to allow for breaks, and to talk, I'm going to give you 4 minutes starting now, and I'll be around to talk to you guys. So make sure we're having engaging conversations and we're staying on task. All right, guys, great job. If you're ready to come back from your break, we'll get started. Were we being arrested? Where was Papa? I ran to my room. A loaf of fresh bread had appeared on my windowsill. A large wad of rubble tacked under the edge. Mother arrived at the door with Jonas clinging close behind her. But Mother, where are we going? What have we done? He asked. It's a misunderstanding. Lena, are you listening? We must move quickly and pack all that is useful but not necessarily dear to us. Do you understand? Lena, clothes and her shoes must be our priority. Try to fit that all you can into one suitcase. Mother looked towards the window. She quickly slid the bread and money onto the desk and snapped the curtain shut. Promise me that if anyone tries to help you, you will ignore them. We will resolve this ourselves. We must not pull family or friends into this confusion. Do you understand? Even if someone calls out to you, you must not respond. Are we being arrested? Began Jonas. Promise me. I promise, said Jonah softly. But where is Papa? Mother paused, her eyes blinking quickly. He will be meeting us. We have 20 minutes. Gather your things now. My bedroom began to spin. Mother's voice echoed inside my head. Now, now. What was happening? The sound of my 10-year-old brother running about his room pulled a cord within my consciousness. I yanked my suitcase from the closet and opened it on my bed. Exactly a year before, the Soviets had begun moving troops over the borders into the country. Then in August, Lithuania was officially annexed into the Soviet Union. When I complained at the dinner table, Papa yelled at me. All right, guys, let's take a quick minute to talk about, if you were in this situation, scared and confused, what would be the things that you would pack first? I'm going to have 10 seconds to think in your head, and then if you have a silent hand up, I'll call on you to talk about what you would take with you first. Of course, yeah, I would take shoes, I would take my clothes, any stuffed animal, yes. Miss B has little stuffed animals that she likes to take with me just to make me feel safe. anything that makes you happy, maybe your favorite like drawing that you have in your room or a picture that you have of your family, anything that would make you happy in this tough situation. And then you would might want to pack some snacks, a couple drinks if you have time, just like the priorities. I don't think we would be picking up our favorite video game or game in this situation. All right, let's go back to our reading. We're gonna go back to the one sentence so we can stop there. When I complained at the dinner table, Papa yelled at me and told me to never, ever say anything about derogatory about the Soviets. He sent me to my room. I didn't say anything out loud after that, but I thought about it a lot. Shoes, Jonas, extra socks, a coat. I heard Mother yell down the hallway. I took our family photo from the shelf and placed the gold frame face up in the bottom of the empty suitcase. The faces stared back at me, happy, unaware. It was Easter 2 years before. Grandma was still alive. If we really were going to jail, I wanted to take her with me, but we couldn't be going to jail. We had done nothing wrong. Slams and bangs popped throughout the house. Lena, Mother said, rushing into the room, her arms loaded. Hurry! She threw open my closet and drawers, frantically throwing things, shoving things in my suitcase. Mother, I can't find my sketchbook. Where is it? I said, panicked. I don't know. We'll buy a new one. Pack your clothes. Hurry. Jonas ran into my room. He was dressed for school in his uniform and little tie, holding his book bag. His blonde hair was combed neatly over the side. I'm ready, Mother, he said, his voice trembling. No, Mother stammered, choking on the word when she saw Jonas dressed for the academy. She pulled an uneven breath and lowered her voice. No, sweetheart, your suitcase. Come with me. She grabbed him by the arm and ran down into his room. Lena, put on shoes and socks. Hurry. She threw my summer raincoat at me. I pulled it on. I put on my sandals and grabbed 2 books, hair ribbons, and my hairbrush. Where was my sketchbook? I took the writing tablet, the case of pens and pencils, and a bundle of rubbles off my desk and placed them amongst the head of items where we had thrown in my case. I snapped the latches closed and rushed out of the room, the curtains blowing, flapping over the loaf of fresh beds still sitting on my desk. Let's take a quick second to think about, why do you think Lena wanted her sketchbook so much? If you have something at home that means a lot to you, think about why you'd want to take that and what kind of comfort that brings you. All right, that was it for my read aloud. Thank you.